Welcome to my yoga. I'm Nicole, and today we have your Vinyasa breakdown. We're going to work through the 4 poses that make up a Vinyasa flow. Downward facing dog, high plank, low plank, and upward facing dog. We'll work through each of these poses individually, ensuring proper execution and alignment. We'll also offer modifications for those of you who aren't ready to take the full Vinyasa flow. Let's practice. I'll begin today by demonstrating the full Vinyasa flow, starting off in downward facing dog. Inhale, coming forward to a high plank, stacking shoulders over wrists. As you exhale, elbows pull in, lowering down to a hover. Tops of the feet to the floor, inhaling, upward facing dog. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Now let's start at the very beginning with the first pose, downward facing dog. To set up, we come into tabletop, wrist creases parallel to the top of the mat, stacking shoulders directly on top of wrists, hips directly on top of knees. Press down through the pointer finger mound of your hand. This will alleviate any pressure on the wrists. Curl the toes under, feet are hip distance apart. Lift your hips, then push the floor away from you with your hands so that the ears come in line with biceps. Now a little tuck to the chin to release the head and the neck. Gaze is at the feet. Now notice here that my knees are bent, but my spine is long and straight. So we want to focus mainly on having the length in the spine, not worrying if the heels are getting all the way down to the earth. Every inhale, the spine lengthens, the hips lift up and back. This takes weight off of the front of your body. And then as you exhale, just allowing the heels to sink. Breathing here. Feel the shoulder blades sliding back and down. Gaze is soft at the feet or at your navel. Back into tabletop. With your exhale, take a deep breath and lengthen the spine. Now let's uncurl the toes, just sitting back, and we'll give our wrists a little bit of a shake here just to let go of any tension. We're going to now focus on coming forward to your high plank. Back into tabletop. Curl your toes under. When you're ready, lift up and back to downward facing dog. Push the floor away from you. Feel that length in the spine. Now with your inhale, we come forward to high plank. Shoulders over wrists. We want the body long. So for myself, I step my feet back, lengthening. Legs are strong and pushing out through the heels of the feet. Shoulders are pulling back and down. Neck is long, pushing the floor away from me with my hands. Now, if this is too much and you can't support yourself here, if you have any sagging of the hips or the legs aren't fired up, feel free to drop the knees down. If you're dropping your knees down, squeeze the legs together, tops of the feet on the floor. As you inhale, the heart lifts. Shoulders pull back. The gaze is soft at the top of your mat. Take a breath here. Now we're going to push back to your child's pose. Full breath here. Let's inhale. Come up into tabletop. Spread your fingers wide, curl your toes under. We're back to downward facing dog. Let's come into that high plank. So inhale, come forward. Hands stay where they are. If you need more space, you're going to slide the feet out. Shoulders back. Option to drop the knees down. Breathe in here. You're tall, you're strong, just like you're standing at the top of the mat. Let's release the knees if they're not already there. Push back to child's pose. Take a breath. Let's inhale, back up into your tabletop. We're going to now work on lowering from high plank to low plank. Chaturanga. Find your tabletop, curl your toes under, lift your hips up and back. Take a breath. We're going to inhale, come forward to high plank, shoulders over wrists. Now we lower down on the exhale, but as we lower down, we shift our weight forward a couple of inches, elbows pull in, and we come to a hover. So you're stacking elbows on wrists here. Release your knees, push yourself back. Now, for those of you that don't have the strength to lower down, a lot of times this is what happens. We come into our high plank, and then we start to lower, the lower body goes down, and we end up on the mat. Now, when we are lowering down in that way without the body's strength, what happens is we have a tendency to create a lot of injury, or potential rather, to create a lot of injury in the body. You will not be able to create any strength and progress if we are doing things misaligned. So let's talk about the alignment for this and the modifications. Back into your tabletop, we're going to come into down dog. Take a breath. Inhale forward to a high plank. Modification 1 is to release the knees down, heart forward, elbows brush into the ribs as you lower yourself down. Another option, legs up, but if you don't have the strength to bring yourself all the way to a hover, you're going to shift forward and just bend the elbows maybe a couple of inches, keeping the legs strong. Then transitioning into our next pose. Let's come into down dog, take a breath here. Let's release the knees to the earth. Sit back onto your heels and just give the wrists a little bit of a shake. We're going to move into upward facing dog or a modified cobra. So let's come into the modified version of our flow first. We'll work through cobra and then we'll come into upward facing dog. Into your tabletop here. Take a deep breath. Curl your toes under, downward facing dog. Full breath here. We're going to modify, slowly come forward to high plank. Move the feet out as you need to. We're going to release the knees down and then exhale, elbows in, and we're going to lower all the way down to our bellies. Press the tops of your feet to the floor, squeeze the elbows in, baby cobra. Chest just gently lifts up off of the earth. Your shoulders are pulling back, belly is strong, tail is drawing down towards the heels. Take another breath here. Gaze is soft, releasing down with your exhale. Now bring weight into the hands. Let's push ourselves back to a tabletop. Take a breath in here, center. We're going to do that flow once again, modified, coming back into downward facing dog this time. Breathe in here. Downward facing dog, exhale. Push the floor away from you with the hands, ears in line with biceps, tall spine. Let's inhale forward to high plank. Once you come forward, release the knees. We exhale, elbows in all the way down to our belly. Strong legs, breathe in, lift to baby cobra, shoulders back. Exhale, curl the toes under, back to downward facing dog. Take a breath. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale forward to high plank, knees drop down. Exhale, lower, slow and controlled. Inhale, legs strong, lift just the chest, shoulders back. Exhale, push, tabletop, then down dog. Take a breath here. Use your exhale to release the knees. Sit back onto the heels. Give the hands and the wrists a little bit of a shake. We're now going to come into full expression with upward facing dog. Now, for the lowering down high plank to low plank, your choice. You can drop the knees down, or you can support yourself, maybe lowering a couple of inches from high plank. If you have the strength, coming all the way down to a hover. Let's start in tabletop, breathing in here. Exhale, curl the toes under, lift up and back, downward facing dog. One breath. Just let the head be heavy, let your heels sink. Let's inhale now, forward to high plank, move the feet back if you need to. Exhale, elbows in, lower to a hover. Inhale now, tops of the feet down, legs strong, lifting. You're pushing the hands down, arms are straight, legs or thighs are lifted off of the earth. Take a breath here. We're going to pull the belly in now, draw your hips up and back, coming into downward facing dog. Deep breath. Let's do that flow again, regular time. Inhale forward to high plank. Shoulders over wrists, strong legs or knees drop. Exhale, lower to hover or all the way down. Inhale, lift, upward facing dog. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, the knees release to the earth. Sit back onto the heels. Give the hands or the wrists a little bit of a shake here. Let it go. Good, let's breathe in. Exhale, we're going to come back to tabletop. We're going to do a modified flow straight through and then full flow straight through. Lengthen. Exhale, lift up and back, downward facing dog, straight spine, hips lifting. Inhale, forward to high plank. We're modifying so the knees come down. Exhale, lower to belly. Inhale, lift to cobra. Exhale, back to table and down dog. Full breath. Full expression now. Inhale, forward. Exhale, lower elbows in. Breathe in, feet down, lift, up dog. Downward facing dog, exhale. As you breathe out, release the knees to the earth. Give your wrists a little bit of a shake and feel free to take a child's pose if that feels good to you. Now remembering to always practice with where you are in that day. Some days may be modifying, some days maybe not. Listen to your body, practice with proper alignment. You'll find that you will build a lot of strength in a short period of time. Thanks for watching. Namaste.